Hello and welcome back. This is week three, coming a little late. I'm recording this on Monday. Just had a really long weekend. It was Brielle's birthday, so we spent a lot of time just enjoying those festivities. But at the same time, this week that you're watching is 3 weeks out from competition. So it is the heaviest week in terms of volume and load, which, from my perspective, it went really well. I had a really good, you know, overall experience with snatch and clear jerk. Strength wise, I'm in a really good place, so can't complain about most of that. Um, I think that at this point I'm pretty beat up, but right where we're supposed to be. I think now that I've done a couple comp reps, I kind of know the level of shape I need to be in to perform at my best, or at least what I've seen at this point to be my best. Um, and that involves a great deal of wear and tear. So I got treatment yesterday. That was pretty crazy. My body is super tight, so um, I'm gonna be honest. My training today is gonna be a little interesting, and I don't know how that's gonna go, but you'll see next week. Um, of course, if you want to see the top sets of any of these training days, they're all on my TikTok, which I have not shared on here before. But it's just literally a name, so you can find that pretty easily. I don't think there's a lot of other people with my name just doing weightlifting. Alternatively, I think I want to start uploading my reels and my TikToks onto YouTube as well. So maybe I don't even have to, link you elsewhere. You could just watch them on the shorts or whatever. Um, in terms of general topic, I guess this week was really big for me in terms of managing expectations. Um, Typically, I'm really uh, quick to watch a set back, especially during training. And if you're someone who also records their lifting or spends a lot of time training, you know that watching yourself back can do a lot more harm than good. And what I've been trying to work on this last week is just leaving the camera where it is, and that does a couple things for me. One, lets me be a bit more attentive during training, lets me be more focused on how I'm feeling as opposed to how I want to look while lifting. And the best lifters have great technique, but that's built over years. And if you're someone who started lifting in North America, more than likely you did not start lifting super young. So there's a lot of things that will change and move depending on how you're feeling and whatnot. So it might not be the best decision to go back and watch every set as you're doing it. I think it's really different depending on the time of year you're into. For me, being up into comp rep, it doesn't make a ton of sense to go off what I'm seeing because completion is way more of a priority. So completion in the sense that like the reps are done, they feel good, I'm solid. There's no discrepancy in whether or not a set was made or a rep was made. So that is the bigger priority, and I think that it's probably driven by my ego in a lot of ways to like want lifting to look in a certain way. Um, if you don't find that even remotely relatable, then you probably haven't been lifting long enough, or you just don't want yourself lift because I think that adds another whole layer to it. And of course, the whole you know social media thing that affects every walk of life now. That does drastically affect your perception of yourself, especially when it comes to athletics and such. So, been trying to stay off the replay button because yeah, this is not healthy for you. And I can report back that lifting in general has been a lot better. I think that even if I feel like I'm not doing it the right way, I end up getting more out of the session. My lifts end up looking better. They're more consistent. I feel more strongly about my positions. So I think in general, I want to start adopting that. And furthermore, in my book, in my training log, I like to write little focuses for the session, just to figure out like what what improvement looks like on any given day, but I've kind of strayed away from that, um, and just put, like, have no expectations and, what's the word? Have fun with it. And it's funny to write that as, goals for a training session, because it's kind of defeats the purpose. If I write down like have no expectations, then I kind of set myself to expect no expectations, which, yeah, I don't know. That's what being an anxious person does to you. So, I think my way of writing that down is just so, if I come out of a set or a movement and feel like, man, I should have done something better, or I feel like I didn't make the right sound or whatever, didn't connect the bar the right way, then if I sit down, I look at that point of, have fun, no expectations, uh, things just feel better. Feels like I'm actually accomplishing what I'm doing because I can turn my brain off. Um, but yeah, that's been this week. Been really, really good actually in terms of my output. Um, I haven't competed that long yet. I'm approaching like the 3 year mark of weightlifting, and within that, I try to get like two a year. So I think this is my fifth competition, and at this point, I've learned that, um, yeah, like if the day comes and training wasn't good, like I'll be able to respond accordingly. I think that if you go in a competition and you're at like a novice to intermediate level, then there's not a lot that your performance is riding on beyond your personal self worth or your ego about training. So for me, every competition is just have fun, perform well, exceed my own expectations, and those should be low already. So what I'm actually describing is getting better at gauging like what success looks like for you. And of course, if you're gunning for an Olympic spot, that means something completely different, because you have to get certain totals and qualify for certain things, be ranked as a lifter. But when you're just trying to learn the sport, it makes no sense to sort of give yourself that level of pressure to perform well, because it just holds you back, I think, either from performance itself or from enjoying performance. And burnout is from what I've come to learn, way more of a deterrence for people in the sport of weightlifting than in a lot of other sports. So that has been training. In terms of life outside of training, I start my new job next week, so I get to do the cool training shifts over the next few days, basically from Tuesday till Friday. I'm kind of booked up, so training will happen at a different time, and I just have to adapt to that. On top of that, the start list for the competition is still not out, so I have no idea when in the day I'm going to be competing. And not that it makes a huge difference. My philosophy is you should be able to perform at any time, because the weight's still a weight, and you practice this much so that you're able to do it that way. So yeah, I don't know. I think things are in a really good spot. I'm trying to learn how to be more in control of my mental state. And that sounds kind of ridiculous, but I think that I suffer's also a crazy word, but I happen to deal with a lot of general anxiety. So being able to manage that in lifting has been like possibly the biggest challenge throughout my learning process. And that's because on some days lifting feels great, on some days it feels terrible, like you're watching my last day here. This was particularly bad. um, at least sensationally, like aesthetically lifting was fine, it's just really light. um, and like having general anxiety isn't great, but then supplementing that with other stressful things, just it can leave you worrying about more than you need to, and that will definitely affect you in all aspects of life. So I like to use weightlifting as a proxy for dealing with different things, and it's been really effective at doing that for me. Um, and the more I'm able to, you know, use those lessons and translate it to my life broadly, I think it'll just improve. everything, which again sounds like a fight proposition because it's just lifting. It's just lifting weights. You're not trying to cure cancer or whatever. But, the barbell will teach you a lot. The barbell will humble you. And you can only hope to show up and be strong and improve a little bit every day for that. But that concludes the footage from this week. And I'll catch you guys maybe 6 days from now. Okay, ta-ta.